Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Chip Talks. Today, we're going to be talking about the endocannabinoid system. And really, what is the endocannabinoid system? How do we describe the endocannabinoid system? If someone caught you in the elevator and said, gee, describe what the endocannabinoid system is to me, what would you say? Well, I like to do it with 3 points. So I just make 3 points about the system. So point 1 about the endocannabinoid system is it's really old and very common. We developed this in the system where it looks like we diverged from insects. So, life went one way, insects went the other, and life, for the most part, dragged an endocannabinoid system up the evolutionary ladder. So we share this system with birds, with reptiles, with fish, with, again, most life on the planet other than insects. Just that fact alone should tell us how important the endocannabinoid system is. Not all the things that I just described even have a central nervous system, right? So we share this endocannabinoid system with things that aren't insects, which is a large group of things. If you have a dog, your dog has an endocannabinoid system. If you have a cat, your cat has an endocannabinoid system. If you have a bird, if you have a lizard, if you have a fish, all these things have endocannabinoid systems. That should just tell us how important this system is, that it's so common and shared with most life on the planet. Point 2 about the endocannabinoid system is it's looking like it is our master regulatory system. So if you're familiar with what the central nervous system does, most of us think, oh, well, the central nervous system is involved in almost every aspect of, regulation of the human body. Well, the endocannabinoid system regulates the central nervous system. It regulates many, many other things, over and above the central nervous system. So it will regulate the highest level functions that we perform kind of as a vehicle, if you will, or as a unit. And it will perform all the way down to cellular type functions, which is just fascinating. But the best way to describe it really is use a construct. So we work kind of like our car, and we all understand that in our car we have a computer. And that computer is always looking at every system in our vehicle, and it's trying to balance all of these systems to perfect balance or perfect homeostasis. So it's looking at windshield wiper fluid and how much air we have in our tires, and gas and engine efficiency and exhaust efficiency, and how much oil we have, and all of those type of things. This computer is constantly monitoring and constantly making these little changes in our vehicle to balance it to perfect homeostasis and perfect function. Well, guess what? We work in exactly the same way. We have a hypothalamus hippocampus. That is the computer in our vehicle. It uses the endocannabinoid system to monitor us. Do we need food? Do cells need food? Do we need to initiate an immune response? Do we need to upregulate an organ, downregulate an organ? What do we need to do? And our hypothalamus hippocampus constantly uses the endocannabinoid system to monitor. And then our hypothalamus hippocampus uses the endocannabinoid system as a mechanism of action or mechanism of change. So when things need to be done, again, the endocannabinoid system is engaged to do those things. So point 2 about the endocannabinoid system, it's our master regulatory system. And it turns out we work kind of like a car, and we need regulation in a similar way that we understand how our computer and electric system regulate our car. The endocannabinoid system and our hypothalamus hippocampus do the same thing inside of us. Point 3 about the endocannabinoid system, this is the best point, because this tells us that we can manipulate the system. If you're sick because you have some kind of endocannabinoid system deficiency, what I'm going to tell you will change your world, will make you unsick. So it turns out that the endocannabinoid system is fed by dietary fats. So the dietary fats, and in particular, monounsaturated, saturated, and polyunsaturated fatty acids, as soon as we eat those fatty acids, when they hit our intestinal lumen, they form endocannabinoids. And each type of fat will form a different endocannabinoid. And by virtue of the formation of these endocannabinoids, which is fed back to our hypothalamus hippocampus, we set a nutritional state. Okay? Are we getting everything that we need? And if we're getting these fats in the right ratios and the right balances, it turns out we are. But none of us know that, and none of us are eating them in the proper ratios or proper balances. So the sort of computer answer to are we getting enough is no. And when that happens, our computer, our hypothalamus hippocampus, will engage the endocannabinoid system to allow us to develop bacteria in our guts. The purpose of that bacteria is to produce proteins which offset our dietary deficiencies. So literally we allow these little critters to grow inside of us to produce stuff we're not eating that we need. How cool is that? Unfortunately for us right now, if I just feed you one side of the equation, so like I just feed you fats that are inflammatory, like saturated fat and omega-6 fatty acids, whoop, you're going to have a strong ability to have an inflammatory response. You're not going to have any ability to have an anti-inflammatory response, except what you build from bacteria in your gut as a reaction to you not eating the anti-inflammatory fatty acids. So your gut will have to work very hard to produce a lot of anti-inflammatories, is what I'm telling you. That's the situation that most of us are in right now. 80% of us will die of an inflammatory disease, and it's simply because we eat inflammatory fats and don't eat anti-inflammatory fats. In that situation, we have to have a whopping microbiome, and all it takes is a little sugar to get that guy out of control. Google, what is the cause of disease? Pathogens, Google will tell you. Google, where do pathogens come from? Dysregulated bacteria. So this is pretty important, guys. But point one about the endocannabinoid system, it's very old. It's very ancient. We share it with most life on the planet. Point two about the endocannabinoid system is it's our master regulatory system. It's involved with every regulatory process in our body, either directly or indirectly. Point three about the system, it's driven and fed by natural resources. We can control it. Thank you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed this quickie on the endocannabinoid system. Check out Chip Talks.